The little child from the old school building. This happened back when I was in 8th grade junior high in the Philippines. In our country, it has been a common belief that most schools were once graveyards and that there are lost souls constantly wandering around the grounds. As an ignorant kid, the haka-haka or such superstitious beliefs sounded ridiculous back then. I never believed in ghosts. I even got dragged into doing such activities as hunting. They call it hunting as the aim is to search for ghosts lurking inside the old building where we usually held our classes, turning the main switch off. That said, the hunting activity proved to me that they weren't real and my classmates were just exaggerating in order to scare the shit out of me. Or if they're really frightened of such, maybe it's because of the absence of light, making them see ghosts, or just some figures resembling them. In one particular hunting time we did, the moment we went out of the building, I saw their faces genuinely scared as if they really saw something in the building. I was clueless when one of my female classmates dragged me out with them while screaming. What I could remember was that they told me there's a white lady walking across the hallway upstairs and that it was right in front of us. I never saw one, but I'm sure they're all telling the truth. After all, they wouldn't react like that if it wasn't. Anyways, back in the story, I was the assigned monitor for the group task on Friday's cleaning duty. My shitty group mates ditched the room, leaving all their responsibility to me. And it sucks because it's already 7:30 in the evening and I had no choice but to do it alone. Our grade level was in the afternoon shift, which was more tiring than staying in school from 5:30 a.m. until 12 noon. Actually, I was a bit happy because I could get to be alone and, self-reflect. I hate all of them anyway. I don't know, maybe I was too weird and kind of a castaway to fit in with them despite doing well in my studies. Being all skillful and talented in many aspects wasn't convincing enough to be in our friend circle. So after I finished cleaning, again all by myself, I went to the electric fans, switching them off before locking the classroom doors. Then I turned off the lights. This was where I suddenly spotted a child standing from outside our room's window, staring back at me. By the way, behind our classroom was another gate made for students living from the other side of the school, and I usually use that route to avoid perverts from the narrow suburbs around it. I'd take that path when the back gate was already locked by the school guards. Of course, I'd frequently consider the back gate since it's more convenient, and I also heard that that specific narrow route where people or informal settlers usually live are full of drug users and addicts. So, yeah. I couldn't see the child's face out of the only dim light at the very gate, but I did recognize him a bit as he resembled someone from grade school because of his uniform. Primarily, those who are in primary school, they tend to have these short shorts for the first to third grade students and the long ones with the grades 4 to 6 students, and they have this specific polo shirts that makes them distinct from the junior high school students. I smiled back at him, then asked if he's still waiting for his parents to pick him up and that I'll call a guard instead to keep an eye on him while he waits. He didn't answer though. I could hear his heavy breathing. One of his hands went up to his chest, puffing as if he's running out of breath. So, out of my concern, I asked him, "Are you okay?" Things got weird and tremendously scary when he ran, forcing himself to get in between the shattered glass windows across from me. Although he wouldn't fit at all even if he did everything he could to enter. I just saw him starting to bleed and basically bathe in his own blood from the deep cuts of the glass. I freaked out. I froze to where I was standing. My hand clutched the keys and my mind went planning on how to get out of the room safely. I moved back little by little, keeping my sight focused on where he stood. By the time I was almost at the door, the light was shining on his face. A familiar kid was approaching me, bleeding himself to death with a blank expression plastered on his face. I couldn't think of anything else to do but just slam the door, running to the end of the hallway where the faculty was. "Sir, here's the classroom key. I will head home now," I told my classroom advisor sitting near the faculty door and noticed my face whitening from fright. Then, my history class teacher just told me, "Just don't mind them, Keith. They haven't hurt anyone yet at all, so you don't have to worry." And that specific teacher often tells us what he usually sees around the old school buildings. Even told us about our principal seeing a lady in black walking through the hallways of the second floor during an earthquake drill. It seemed like he knew what I actually saw that time. I just nodded and sighed in belief. I smiled at them, then walked myself home. I walked on the other path instead, since the child literally appeared where I usually head home. There was also a strange atmosphere from the material recovery facility, as if someone was staring back at me, so no, not risking it. I didn't sleep well that night thinking about who that child was. I only came into realization about a certain batchmate back in 6th grade who died before even graduating. His parents were the ones who went on stage holding his picture to receive his diploma, which was, of course, an emotional part of the program. We were told that he died from a heart attack and that he had a congenital heart problem. What terrified me more was that I had an argument with him a week or two before the date of his death. It was purely unintentional, and I was just, dragged along with it. We were playing 10-20, a jumping game associated with garter, with my so-called friends. Never mind, just call them my classmates. While playing, someone complained that we were blocking the walkway and we should have at least provided a space for people to walk. Unfortunately, one of my playmates got stupidly mad at him and basically just straight up yelled at him. And yes, that girl is the bitchiest among the class, so understandable response, I guess. At first, I was silent because I knew that he was in the right, but this bitch glared at me as if she wanted me to do the same idiotic shit she was doing. I was that kind of person who was prone to bullying, especially because I was really short. Until now, I'm hard stuck in 4'9". Yep, I know it sucks to be me. I had no choice but to get mad at him, or these girls would either bully me or push me away again. So I reluctantly responded, "I'm sorry, but we're playing. You should find your own ways to cross without bothering us." I kept on avoiding gazes with him as I said those things. Surely it made me feel guilty as fuck. Because heck, I hate pissing people off, especially if they're really nice, and that certain boy is nice. He's known to be nice. So, what happened it still haunts me until this day, despite not seeing ever again after I graduated high school. I don't know. I may have doubted these tales, but I just wanted to tell you the worst paranormal things that almost ruined my life. And this event was just the start of me encountering these weird entities.